We have the pleasure and privilege of having Randy Lopez, who has just assumed the mantle of being the executive director for Uncommon Good. Now, I'd like to spend just a minute or less, if you don't already know what Uncommon Good does. And their goals are to help low-income students succeed in school and go to college, support students' families with educational, wellness, and mental health programs, and maintain a robust urban farming program, which is really just right up the street, correct? You can't see it from the street, but it's there. An urban farming program and food pantry to eliminate hunger and malnutrition among our students' families and others suffering from food challenges. I'll let Randy elaborate from there. Randy, I have known for about 5-6 years, and he's one of these people in Claremont that no matter where you go or what you do, there was Randy. He was either with the chamber or something, and you always knew if you were in the, if you wondered if you were in the right place and you saw Randy, it's like, okay, this is it, right? I looked at his resume and his bio, and it made me feel like I'd never done anything in my life in comparison. Randy has overcome some challenges, some health challenges, right? In grand style, might I say. You look excellent. And and done so much for Claremont and so much for the chamber prior to being part of Uncommon Good that it basically dwarfs anything I thought I've done. So to that end, Randy's going to tell us about what Uncommon Good has done, is doing, and will be doing, and hopefully how Active Claremont can help them. So I'd like to, again, another big round of Active Claremont applause for Randy Lopez.
Russ, can I move this over? Or I can just put it here. And is that okay?
Do you have a...
No, I'll just walk over. We're low.
I can push the button.
That's okay. I got it.
Your choice.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay without the mic? Is that all right? Or do you need the mic for the video? They can hear it? Oh, hey. Hi. Is that all right?
It's up to you.
Okay. Just because I'll be moving around.
That's why there's a cord.
Oh, I know. I'll be doing. Thank you for letting me be here. As Russ said, I'm fortunate to live in Claremont. My wife and I have been around for about over 20 years in Claremont. In terms of just the health, I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. And I went through that when I was 34. I'm 61 now, so I'm very fortunate. When colon cancer, by the way, March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. So if you haven't been screened, please do. If you have not been screened in probably the last 5 years, please do. And just take care of yourself. Listen to your body. There's a lot of stress going on, and take care of yourself. So anyways, that's my commercial. I'm fortunate enough to have been involved with the Chamber for about 5.5 years and was able to work with Corey and Ed and so many of you here. Thank you for that. It was a gift to be working with that organization. It was a chance to meet a lot of folks and actually do some good work. I think all of us here are just trying to do good work. We're just trying to do things and make this place better. I also have Ophelia's Jump, which is a theater company. Some of you are members, and please come see us. We border between Claremont and Upland. We do the Sontag Theater for the summer, support the arts too. So part of being a cancer survivor, and this leads into this, my wife and I made decisions. We're going to do things that are going to make us happy, probably not wealthy, but things that we don't know how much time we have, so we're going to do what we can to make the world better. Those of you, how many of you know about Uncommon Good? A little bit. A little? Okay. How many of you know Nancy Minty? Great. Nancy is a force of nature. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Nancy is a force of nature who created this organization 25 years ago as a way to fight generational poverty. And it was a way to globally work with families and wrap in not just the students and the kids that we help, but the entire family. Because she realized, she came from the Inner City Law Center in LA, was an attorney, went from UCLA, used to fight and win these huge awards for very poor people that were living in slums, and she would fight against the landlords in those cases. And she would get those gifts, and sometimes these families would make a lot of money, and they'd get a check for $100,000 or whatever, and then everybody be happy, and then she'd see the family a year or two later, and they were in the same place. They went through it. So she figured out that she needed to get families earlier and get with kids and teach them how to probably do a lot of the things that people in this room have had the ability because of mentors, because of some of the education we've had, just different chances. And so that was creating Uncommon Good. This is the building that Russ mentioned. How many of you have seen the building in Uncommon Good? Great. This room, it always answers everything. This is where I got to work. By the way, how much time do I have? I don't want to go
All hour.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So we'll go.
No
quick.
rush.
So it started 25 years ago, and about 12 years ago, Nancy was working at OLA at the old the convent, and she's worked with the churches, right? And she's been there, and she had this dream that she needed to not just affect the families, but create something that was different. And Nancy, which I love because I've got to meet her and work with her and get to know her, like me and my family, was how do you work with the whole person? Mind, body, health. The way I survived cancer was mind, body, health. Eat the right things, watch a lot of comedies, take care of yourself, laugh, enjoy yourself, and be with dogs, and eat good food. And so she created this. She built this adobe building with the dirt that was literally under the building. They built it, they put it in bags, and you can go to the next one. So this is the building. It is behind Claremont Methodist, and this was built with just sandbags filled with dirt, and volunteers came, and I don't know if any of you were there for the opening or for that part, but built it, and it is, and I kid with Corey, but it is a building that, because it's an adobe building, because unlike any other building that we have in this area, there are different things about it. The temperature stays very cool. It's kind of like being in a root cellar. It's kind of very earthy, but there's no need for sprinklers because it won't burn. And there are plants, if you see on the top of it, there's actually plants and things growing on top because there was a garden on top. So it's a totally integrated building that is, we've outgrown it. I'm actually looking to how to make it a little bit larger or do some things for it. But it's an amazing place. We give tours, particularly with the fires right now. There was an article in the LA Times about buildings and going to adobe buildings because they don't burn. So architects are now looking at places like this as an option. So it is amazing. We have all the foliage. We also have, it's right next to the Botanic Gardens. And then we have our farm there, or actually a place where we bring in the produce that we collect. So if you haven't been there, come by, visit, say hello, and pick up some produce. And we'll talk about that program. So let me go, this is actually how it was being built. Amazing, right? It's like a fort when we were kids. So for some
ADU idea.
Pardon?
Perfect ADU idea.
Yes, exactly, right, exactly, your ADU that you can do. It is, it's like it looks like a Rose Parade float right now, doesn't it? But the idea of Nancy, who's very well and just retired, to just do these programs is amazing, and just shows you the force of nature of what people can do. And so I'm honored, and was not looking to be in this business. I was recruited, and it was an honor to be given the opportunity. And because of my friendships with many of you in the room, and pretty much all of you, you're going to be coming along for the ride. So I'll be asking for favors. I'll be asking for you to come see it. Corey and Ed know that every time, hey guys, can you come over and do this? And so I'm grateful for the friendship, and I'm grateful for the support, particularly from these council members that we have here who have just been fantastic. But we all know that anyways. Let's go to the next one. So we are, our mission is to break the intergenerational cycle of poverty through innovative programs in education, health, and urban farming. It's a hard thing to say. Russ and I were talking about how do you explain what an organization does in a sentence. That's a simplified version, but again, it's the whole body and mind of how do we help these kids and these families with the goal that these kids grow up, go to four-year colleges, become professionals, become whatever they want to be, have that opportunity, and break the cycle of poverty by being able to have incomes and be able to bring in tax dollars and be able to raise future generations that are doing the same thing. So it's that change. Go right ahead.
And give back.
And thank you. And like all of you, or many of you here, I don't know, give back. There's that social, thank you for that, Corey, because part of what we're doing too is I'm working with UCLA right now that has a program where they're teaching students, there's basically a social good program where they're teaching students at UCLA to work with nonprofits, and somebody has funded them a lot of money and they gift it to nonprofits. So they're learning about social responsibility. So we have a medical program. We do a medical program where we get these kids, so we start them off at 4th grade, and they're in for about 12 years, or whatever, so basically 4th through 8th, and sometimes even longer. We grab them, and we have the kids that apply. Their parents get involved in the program as well, and what we do is we go through a program where they're going through mentoring, they're going through reading lessons, writing, they're going to the colleges, the Claremont colleges, where we have students that work with them. So at 4th grade through high school, they're already seeing and being a part of college experience. They're going there, and the students from our colleges, CMC, Pitzer, are working with them. So they're going through mentoring. We also have different adults, different groups. We're also taking those kids on trips. They're going to culture, hearing orchestras. They're going to musicians. They're going all over the place. And so they're getting involved, and all those challenges and all those things that a lot of times they never would have had that opportunity. So we're also doing things like with their families. Again, these families, a lot of them the kids are first generation. So the parents, not all of them speak English. They're going through naturalization, or they are naturalized, but they're going through this, and we're teaching the parents, how do you teach your kids to study? We're teaching the kids, how do you organize your day? We're teaching 4th graders how to create like day timers. How do you organize your day? When do you study? Things that I wish I would have known. Financial planning. So we actually, this last year, all of our students were accepted into colleges, 4-year colleges, universities. One student decided to go into the military, which is fine. So we got like a 98% success rate. I still say that the military is a success. But they're all going into, and they're going to Harvard, they're going to Cal Poly, they're going to Princeton, they're going to Ivy League schools, and they're becoming doctors. We had our 25th anniversary luncheon the other day. Ed and Corey were there, and you were there. Yep. Which just finished about 10 minutes ago. It went so long. But we had doctors and we had attorneys and people there that are working for political leaders that are students from this. So anyways, I wanted to share one thing with you on this. This is for the education program, and we call it a Connect to College. And we are right now doing the whole family is engaged. We are taking busloads of kids. So we took 62 kids just 2 weeks ago to UCLA to go see the school. They're going all over the place. And so it's been just a fantastic program. That's kind of one of the core. The other program is our CASA, which is Community Alliance for Urban Sustainable Agriculture, started in 2009, raising local pesticide-free produce for the community. So this program is the food program we're talking about. You've seen Claremont Methodist Church. We have the Presbyterian Church, we're at the Presbyterian Church on Mountain, below Foothill, that farm. Let me see if this one works. That is one of our farms, one of many. We have 8. And they're throughout the city. They're also at El Roble, at the high school. And they are beautiful farms that we're just utilizing the space. And the Presbyterian Church, we have this one. We have a little side space too, with just small lots. And we're growing all of this produce that we're bringing in. We collect it, we farm it, and then we give it away for the families.
Wow.
Because we want them to be able to give these kids whole foods, good food, and how difficult and expensive it is for these families. We also give it to other groups. We have different members of the community coming in. A lot of refugees that are coming in, a lot of students, basically any of you. If you want to come in and get some produce, help yourself. If you can, leave a donation. If you can't, get some produce. And it's just a gift back. It's an amazing program. This is the Mountain View. We have right there right there off of Foothill. And they're beautiful.
Yeah.
So the amount of produce and things that we're pulling, this is an actual, that's Joanna.
Wow.
And that is not, that's not Ophelia's Jump doing Little Shop of Horrors, that is real. And that's a tour of students. This is our food justice class from Scripps. So that is our food program. I want to read a couple of facts for you on the food. So, annually, we weigh everything. Yeah, I got these little clip-on glasses because I keep losing them, so they we grew this last year 22,427 pounds of food. We gleaned, that means taking it from community members like yourselves that donate, or if they have their own plants. We have folks that have, like Russ has amazing pomegranates, right? So we go to Russ's place and we pick up those pomegranates. He donates it to us, and we go and pick those, and then we give those away, what he doesn't. So there's a lot of different places that we're doing it. We're actually in conversations with the city. Were you aware of this? That we're looking to, just go with it. Just go with it. Just go with it. If anybody's been in the little walking path behind the Hughes Center, there's all those lemon trees. We had conversations with Melissa to glean lemons, and then obviously leave some if you want to leave some, but to utilize those for the program. And so we can do that. So we brought in 22,000 pounds. We gleaned, that means taking, or people have given us food, 41,604 pounds of food. This is last year. We distributed 84,110 pounds. We serve about 400 people a month. And those are folks that are coming in and getting free produce and free goods. So that's also, sometimes we have rice, we have beans, different things. It's an amazing program. And it's something that we just do because Nancy created it, and it's something we're going to continue doing it. If you do see Jim Alsasser from the school district, thank him, because the school district allows us to have those programs going on. I'm going to be talking to maybe Upland School District and different places as well, or finding different areas to have property to grow, and we have students do that. So it's a way to give back. Another thing that we do with the kids, or this program, is we have a dyslexia program. Dyslexia is very rarely diagnosed, particularly in the school districts, particularly for our community of the families we're serving, where English is second language. These kids get put into an ESL class because English is second language. And when they learn English, and that can happen with kids really quickly. My wife even was born in Cuba, and she was in ESL, speaking Spanish. And if you've met her, I mean, she's curses in Spanish so well. But what happens is that these kids get in there, and they don't get tested out. So particularly if they have dyslexia, which is something that can be worked on, and they can grow, they can learn to read, but they're taught that they're slow, that they're poor learners, so it changes their trajectory. We actually go in and have relationships with school districts, particularly Pomona, to go in and test these kids. And then we use a program where we have resources where we teach them. And it's a long process, it's years, but we do individual one-on-one to get these kids and get them into reading above their grade level and get them into colleges. So we have another location. We have the one that I showed you. We also have another location that's in Pomona and I say this because I love my peers. It's at the old shopping center on Indian Hill and Holt, the old Sears shopping center, like all of us old school folks know.
White front.
White front, Zodi's actually. Zodi's was there. Whitefront was Mountain. Next to Toys R Us. And Zodi's had Vicky Carr doing the commercials. But anyways, it was, we have a classroom there where we teach these kids one-on-one. And we have a relationship with the college. So when you're giving funds or supporting, or if you want to support, this is kind of where the program goes. This is where the money goes. The money goes to help these kids. In the dyslexia program, we are working right now with 11 public schools, and we're working with 6 districts on that. So it's amazing. I do want to go back to the med program, and I think, did we go to there? Did we show the slide? It's lost. Anyways, the med program is the other program we do, which, yeah, don't even worry, it's okay. Thank you. The med program is where it's amazing. It's getting kids that are going into college, and when they're in college, or excuse me, when they're in high school, if they have any interest in becoming doctors or going into a medical field, anything, we actually work with them to show them which tests to take, which classes to take, which kind of grades to do, and sometimes not even to join a lot of clubs. That's perfect. Because they're going to be going to med school, they're going to have probably a better chance to get some grants, so focus on your grades. But if they go to med school, and these kids go to med school, and it's not just the kids that go through our program, but we do this throughout the area, as a way to pay off their loans, where they have anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000 in debt for loans. We actually underwrite. We work with LA Care, we work with Kaiser, and we give significant grants as long as they work in a low-income clinic or someplace in their community. We can underwrite up to $100,000 a year of their student loan. So what it does, it makes doctors, it gives them the ability to actually make a good living and work in their communities without sometimes having to work and try to move up so quickly, where they don't get to help sometimes the audiences they want to. It also helps with representation. So it's an amazing program. The doctors and the physicians, because now they're adults, the ones that have been through this program, and you listen to them, and they're nurses, and it's amazing. But without this program, they would not be in those roles, or at least it would have been a lot more difficult. I want to give you some numbers of the medical program, because it blew me away. And this is a Claremont nonprofit. So, we have amazing, when I was at the Chamber, 40% of the businesses in Claremont were nonprofits. We are a city that gives. We are a city of Pilgrim Place and all of you that are always giving. But we don't really talk about this uncommon good as much. In the med program, over 25 years, we have given over $36 million in debt relief for students from this organization. We are currently, our current numbers, our current medical professionals enrolled in the program getting this, and what we do is I have a staff, there's about 25 people, but we're monitoring doctors, we're making sure they're working in clinics, we're on grades, everything. Right now we have medical professionals enrolled in this program, 168. We are, I need to put the glasses back on. We are, in general GPs, we have 106, pediatricians 37, dentists 12, pharmacists 3, podiatrists 4, and psychiatrists 6. So those are all doing work. Now, what I like is, who are they helping? Because of those numbers, the people that they're impacting, the current number of patients receiving services, 174,523 adults, 107,603 minors. Because of the doctors that have gone through this program, getting the benefits and the ability to work in these areas, we are currently working with patients count of 282,126. So it's something that at this point in my life, I'm 61. I worked, the chamber, I got to work on If you ever hear of check your colon during Colon Cancer Awareness Month, a little check mark and a little your colon, I created that when I was going through on the board of the Colon Cancer Alliance. I got to do that part. I'm lucky I'm still here. And with my wife, we started Ophelia's Jump to also help lives, start conversations, do art. So for me to be able to do something like this and to just be a part of an organization creating changes in lives, creating ripple effects is just so amazing for me. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak because I want people to know, particularly in this world where, not political statements, whatever, but sometimes the underserved can be demonized. And a lot of these families can be said there's no value. I had a mother, because we meet with the parents, we talk about the med program, we talk about, your kids, it's not just about being a part of these programs, they have to work. And those of us that have not come from a lot of money, you have to work 2-3 times as hard. And so these kids, we had one mother at the college program talking about college and high school. And one mother had 2 kids went through our program, and she had 2 more kids that she wanted to bring in. And she actually asked and said, is it better right now for me to give up my kids for adoption so they have a chance for an education? That's the world. And I don't mean that to shock, but that is the fear they're going through. So our job right now is just to help these kids, to help all kids, right? Let them have some hope. And it is amazing. I've been able to meet with these kids that are, if we do like a doctor workshop talking about the medical program, the place will fill up with juniors and seniors from high school, which I'm like, this is amazing on their own, that are just interested in doing this. So it is, it's a fantastic opportunity. My job after 25 years that Nancy created is to not mess it up, right? And to just keep it going, right? I mean, that's the goal. And the goal is also to let it grow, because there's so many people. I'm hoping that I have enough in me and that we have enough support. At some point, this can be replicated in other cities, in other communities. It doesn't have to be a predominantly Hispanic. It has to be just a representation of what the community is. But these kind of models can be replicated anywhere. We're grateful because of the churches. Thank all those churches that you see and all those places, and those of you that donate food. You are all doing an amazing job with this. So, it's really just how do we keep this going? How do we keep Shoes That Fit going? How do we keep all these gems that we have in our own backyard alive? So, that's a little bit about Uncommon Good. And I do invite you to come see us. If you go to the Botanic Gardens, we're right there, so you can just come by and say hello and come to events. I'm going to be, with my background, I'll be telling more stories and letting people know about this place even more than we have. And I just thank you for the time to be able to talk about it. So that's my speech. Any questions on it? Any questions?
Randy,
Yes.
just a comment.
Yes, sir.
First time I met Nancy was 2001. I can't believe how far you guys have come since 2001. And what you're doing is, to me, it's phenomenal. But we had Nancy come here and speak. I believe it was like 10, maybe 12 years ago, Corey.
Was it? Yeah.
Anyway, things had moved along quite a bit by then. And I got involved with her because when I was with Three Valleys Water, they needed meaning Uncommon Good, needed some help.
Yeah.
And I got Nancy to come up and talk to the board and see what we could do.
Good.
And we did. We can only do so much, but I guess where I'm going with this is I think you or somebody should be going up to some of these agencies, and another one is Golden State Water.
Yep.
And maybe you already are. But when I first met Nancy, one thing that I remember was that clay hut. I mean, here it's sitting out in the middle of nowhere, and, and
Yeah.
all this junk around it, and I just admire what you guys have done. But
Yeah.
as a comment, I'm looking at these young people that are up here right now.
Yeah.
You talked about dentists, you talked about doctors, LVNs, RNs, that kind of thing. Are you involved with Citrus College at all?
We aren't, or at least the organization hasn't been. I know them as well, and I think there's also the ability that. So I think in the past, Nancy's idea was that you really needed to have that, be an attorney, be a doctor, and for me, and some of the discussions that you can be an LVN and have an amazing career, which Citrus has a fantastic program. That it's just. So the measuring, so it may change a little bit, but the relationships, yes, I do know them. I need to have, I need to sit down with them, a little more formally.
Well, the programs that they have out there now,
Yeah.
we have everything from automotive,
Mm-hmm.
which, like going back into my old high school
Right.
days, but they have LVNs. I mean, we have beauticians. You name it, we have it. I say we because I've been a board member of.
They're an amazing group, and I think
now
with the
25 years.
Yeah, I think with the colleges like that, they are great. But I think it's also part of it is because it's first generation, we want them to really shoot and be representatives and go really big. And I think that's part of Nancy's vision, was to become white collar and to just break through and show how fast it can happen in terms of a timeline of a family. We had Corey and Ed were there the other day, and I'm not saying any of those other jobs can't do that. But Corey and Ed were there at the lunch, and we had a family, and the kids all went through the program, and the kids actually bought the parents a house. Which, you hear these stories and you're like, oh my God, it can happen that way. And it can happen ethically. It can happen, I kind of had to throw that out. It can happen, right? It happens in a way that is really, these kids are also learning about science, they're learning about food, they're learning, and it's really interesting that we still have that way. But yeah, I think there's any path we can make. I'm making inroads with organizations, Golden State, kind of the same thing I did with the Chamber. And so actually, even as you listen, like if you like, this is a group you should meet, or this is a person you should meet, I'm open for it. I'm going to be going out doing road shows and talking about it and doing whatever I can to make sure this continues.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
Are you involved, or do you want to get involved with Leroy Boys Home, David and Margaret?
That's a great question. So we are an organization of 25 people doing all this work. It seems like a lot, and it is and it isn't. A big part of the jobs for this is because we're getting grants from LA Care and these organizations that give us large dollars. Like to pay the doctors, we have to collect all that money, but we also have to track everything. We have to track our students, their grades, their teachers. We have to track the doctors, make sure they're still practicing, make sure they're in their clinic, make sure all of this work is incredibly taxing. And part of it is there are so many organizations like Leroy that are doing great, but I've also told my team we have to stay really focused right now until on our mission and what we're doing, because a lot of those other areas are also getting funding. For us to create these programs, the funding needs to come pretty much directly to us, and then the funding goes and makes these things happen. Sometimes the partnerships are great, and we'll find ways to work and know each other and work, but it's hard because they may be getting funding too that helps their program, and sometimes doing all that is, I'm trying to just keep it really, at this point, at least for my first 6 months, try to stay laser focused, and also because I don't know what the ripple effects are going to happen with just giving and funding and all those things. And even for you, if you're going to be giving $100 to this group, $100 to this, people may find out that they want to help a lot more because funding is difficult, so they're going to give $10 to this, $10 to that. which helps a lot of people, but still doesn't help as much. So I don't know all those. It's a long answer, but it's part of it is how do I stay very focused on these programs before I expand. So yes, yeah.
Does Uncommon Good, they have volunteers, or is it all staff?
No, that's there are some volunteers. A lot of the volunteers help with sometimes mentoring. Some of our tutoring is a way to help. It's great to have educators that kind of went through it to help with writing skills, reading, those kind of things. That's an element. The other way is to, we have some people from Pilgrim Place that come in and just help us with binders and teaching programs, because we're doing classes like tonight. I think there's an art class we did, and we're talking about different arts, so there's workshops, we're taking them to some museums. On the other hand, they're going through applications, even helping fill out college applications with the kids. I say kids, but all those things. So if you're interested, let us know. Yeah.
So in that Active Claremont gets really no conflicting funding other than the membership dues, what can, in your, let's say, view over the next year or so, can Active Claremont do to help Uncommon Good and vice versa?
Take care, Jeff. That's, I think first off, awareness for you to be able to tell people about what we're doing as well is really important. I want people to be able to drive by, see the gardens and go, that's Uncommon Good, this is what they're doing. Part of it is like getting the word out. Yes, we will do some fundraisers, things like that. We are looking at, with some of the students, that their families are actually afraid to go out right now because of ice. We are having we're trying to make sure that two things, that the kids feel safe, comfortable, but we may be doing more and more some Zoom classes, so we're probably going to need some laptops, things like that. That's a fundraising as a group if you wanted to do. There's also basically just kind of maybe help with the program, with the food program. So there's part of it, I would say, is almost as an organization or as an individual, because I like people to connect with something that really speaks to them too. So if there's an aspect of this that you're really interested in, maybe you're interested in the med program because you came from a family of doctors. Maybe you're interested in the farming because you have land, or you want to maybe do something. If there's something that speaks to you, let me know and we can talk about it, how you can get involved. I would like, because I want people, Corey's smiling.
I'll tell you why later.
I know, see, that's what I like to do.
Inside joke.
Get bit, right. As I get more of what is the need, right now we're looking for space. Because I need to find another location. Corey's laughing.
Getting looks from someone
He
across
looks
the room.
at me,
Really?
that's why he's laughing, because I'm giving messages to you.
Oh, really? Okay. We need space because we are, right now, come and see the space. We're doing onboarding with families, like talking to them about we have to find out their financial status. We have to find out where the kids are, their grades, a lot of personal information. And because we don't have a lot of private rooms, I have 3 people working in an office, it's hard for them to have those conversations. It's hard to find a meeting space. We're using places like the Chamber, different Sanctuary Coffee, we're using their meeting room. So there's places that we are utilizing to kind of help. But at some point we're gonna need to grow to another office or another location that I could do it, like maybe 1 program or 2 program could work out of. So space is going to be one. So any ideas that you have, or things, or a wonderful tax write-off, let me know.
School of Theology?
School of Theology is not going to be. That's the colleges, and that'll be something else. That's really nothing.
Plan.
Yeah, there's a master plan. It's going to be it's going to be a water park. I'm going to start a rumor. Let me just start a rumor. That's what I always wanted to do at the Chamber. Start a rumor. Did you know it's going to be like what's happening with Walters? Well, it's actually becoming a nightclub. No, none of this is true. I just like doing Claremont rumors because I don't know if you noticed, people like those.
Especially on Claremont Connects.
Especially on Claremont Connects. So sometimes I just like to just poke the bear.
The water park is gonna be where the,
Water park.
where the, golf course was.
Right, that'll be and see, that's gonna be like Lion Country Safari, where you drive your VW through rhinos. Cause that's the perfect tundra, so we could do that. That's a good one, we should just do that.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Please put that. Randy spoke about the new tundra, rhino park. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at. Yes?
Who works in the garden?
The garden, great question. We have Joanna, the person with all the produce. Joanna oversees it. We have 4 people, a team of 4.
For all those gardens?
For all those gardens. 2 farmers, Joanna, who oversees and does our outreach. So she's doing the classes with kids. She's making sure everything's being managed, getting all the gleaning products. She's the one working with Russ. She's amazing. And then we also have one more, his name that we're going to be hiring because he's moving. His name is Nick, and he runs our pantry, basically the food where we have, and he also does all the data. So we have a real left-right brain type of group of people. They're amazing. And we have 2 of the employees were students that actually went through college, and now they're doing all the statistics and going through all the data. It's amazing. But it's a staff of 4.
So the one at Mountain View Elementary and the one at Claremont High, are they students? No.
No. We're actually, they used to have student programs that the students would kind of help,
Yeah,
but then that stopped before COVID.
okay.
Because of unions and different situations, it's really difficult. And so
Oh.
we do all that ourselves. We farm.
So you use the space. But
We use the space.
That's so
And then we're trying, I'm going to be meeting with Dr. Elsasser. How do we make sure the students are involved? How can we get back
Yeah.
to letting the teachers kind of do walkthroughs, or how do they?
Well, you have to have a teacher that has the burden.
Right,
for it.
and that's the problem. The teachers are so overworked right now,
Right.
and staff. So
Right.
we're going to see what we can do, because even if
Yeah.
that's a place where we could get volunteers to give, farm tours or do things. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. A quick thing, if you ever go to the Presbyterian, you're walking by and you see the white fence, right?
Yes.
Take a look over the side of the fence. You'll see all the produce. The broccoli is amazing. There's all of this. And as you look through the mound of dirt and all of that, you're going to see bones, like big bones, like knuckle bones, and just like femur. I mean, like huge. And I remember walking. I just had to share this. It's not part of the script. But as you're going through, you're like, what are all these bones? What is this? What was buried here? At first, I'm like, Joanna, what's the backstory? And it was there was a butcher that was giving us. We were basically taking. Oh my God, what's the word?
bone meal?
Pardon?
Like a bone meal, a blood meal?
Well, no, it was basically we were taking all the I'm sorry?
Calcium?
Well, no, we were taking all the greens and the leaf, everything that was just kind of rotting and that we use for the ground mulching. Composting. Oh my God, there you go. 61. This is when it starts.
You're 61.
Yeah, right. This is right. Yeah, composting. Thank you.
There's no excuse.
So, cancer brain. That's what it is. Chemo brain. 61. So, anyways, all of that composting that we use from a butcher shop. So it left all these bones around, which is amazing because it looks so cool. Students love it, by the way.
What produce do you grow?
Great question. Produce is basically everything from corn to boysenberries to broccoli to cruciferous vegetables to greens, everything. It's kind of everything. And the farms are all over. El Roble has, they're doing a lot of tomatoes. They're doing a lot, right now it's a lot of cauliflower and broccoli that are coming out. But there's also boysenberry plants that are there. It's really it's all over the place. And what I want to do though is actually start growing things that have a seasonality to them, and then start doing it with recipes and start educating community on what kinds of food and using indigenous kinds of foods, and also how do they go with the seasonality of holidays and things. So just try to integrate it. So also the inflammatory nature of a lot of the foods. because so working with there's a student who's in his grad program at Drucker, and he's interested in kind of food health. And so I actually want to talk to him because that's what I did when I went through my own cancer journey, is how do we use a lot of indigenous produce to heal ourselves too. So how do we do all that? So it's working a lot with the Botanic Garden and working with students like this that can educate, but it's bringing all these things together. So it's really interesting, right? I mean, it's fascinating because you can do, there's so much we can do. And with Nancy just said, I'm going to do it. And she didn't, you know, I come from a family of startups, or my wife's startup, Ophelia's Jump, just saying I'm going to create a theater, and she did. And startup people are they're different. They are so. I'm a good second generation to come in and kind of help grow. I've grown businesses. But it's I'm in awe of Nancy, and I'm grateful for her, just what she's accomplished every day, and the team. If you've met the team of people that work at Uncommon Good, the passion that they have. My concern right now is also taking care of them, because they're like anything. If you're taking care of people in times of stress, we had, and I wasn't going to share this, but you know, we had the CMC, we had the lockdown, the swatting incident, the swatting call the other day. Did you guys hear that? Where they thought there was an armed gunman on the campus, so they locked down the campus, which ultimately locked down all the campuses. A couple things I want to say about that is we had students there, we had kids at CMC, and I had a couple of our teachers there, or a couple of instructors. I'll finish up. Joanna, who went through the program, was the one teaching it. And they were hiding in the library. So these kids, besides dealing with just the stress of what's going on, they were dealing with that. I cannot tell you how proud I am. Those kids were amazing. Joanna, our team, crisis mode. I also want to thank out our council. Actually, these two council members, I was on the phone with them the whole time too, just checking in. The ability of the community to kind of, for me to feel that support. And I've shared that with the families and the kids about you guys and the support. But these kids and these teachers are going through so much right now. And so right now it's also part of the slide that I'm not showing is I'm trying to have some fun with these folks too. And let these kids also have some joy. They're working so hard. So we are going to be doing things that are just wellness check-ins too. So there's another part. We do a low intensity cognitive therapy, where it's a program that Nancy started. We work and we have promotoras, which means we have parents that learn these coping and these techniques that they share with other parents, and we share them with the kids. But it's a way to do without going to a therapist, but a way to open up to have peer-to-peer conversations as a way to help these families and these people to also deal with their minds. And so that is, we're seeing great benefits. Actually, Scientific American wanted to do a study on it, and they had an article, they were going to publish it last month. And I actually asked them not to do it right now because I don't want to shed too much light to this organization just right now in these times, because it named people and students, and I just want to take care of them right now. But anyways, that's what we're doing. It's a lot of stuff. Sorry I went long. Yes?
So, Uncommon Good is inarguably a community-based organization that does good for the community.
Yes.
What would have to change to have Uncommon Good apply and or be eligible for community-based organization funding that the Community and Human Services Commission allocates each year?
I think that's, well,
And
first,
especially if the folks here could make those changes.
I think that, you know, and it's a question of, there were so many organizations that are deserving, and there's the challenge, and I think the challenge, I can speak for you, the challenge they have, those funds are, it's a help, it's very limited. When you look at the amount of, it's a very small amount. So you're looking at what could be $5,000 or $1,000
Or
right?
10, or 15.
No, it's no, very rarely 10. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it 10
Yeah.
often?
It's
Can it be 10?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. It's
You know,
so.
and obviously, the more we want to help, the smaller the amount.
Right, and I think, and I'm not, so what I'm also saying is with the ability of the 25, sometimes I'm trying to get grants and organizations that are giving me really large checks because I need to just survive. Like just large, 20 more, 100, 5, things to underwrite these doctors, the amount of fundraising that I'm doing for this, or the amount of organizations with Kaiser and things are really big and takes so much of our bandwidth to do. And the other point is, it's hard sometimes to say I'm gonna go through some of those grants that I'm gonna tie up somebody for maybe a week or 3 days or whatever to do it. So I'm not saying that these are all fantastic. And so what I'm saying is I need to probably grow the staff so I can get some people to help me do those, as well as to ask folks to give $100 here, $10. It all helps. It all goes into the, but sometimes you're at it's a catch-22. You're at the mercy. I think the big help right now is for the community to be aware. And I'm not saying, and actually we'll apply for those because I'm not going to turn down any dollar amounts. Right. You're going to apply for all of it, but it's also, I'm having to have these meetings right now with, LA Medical and different organizations that are really helping, because I can't, if I lose those, I've lost everything. If I lose one of those big accounts, to be honest, that's my fear. I have to keep those because that keeps my whole infrastructure going. So it's a lot of, that's the reality, right? That's the reality of this. It's doable, but yeah.
Have you, Kiwanis also gives
Yes.
grants to community members and smaller.
They do.
But, and I was wondering if you're interfacing at all with the Newcomers Access Center. You're dealing with mostly a Hispanic community, right?
Yes and no. Actually, with Newcomers Access, we don't have a relationship, but a number, I'd probably say almost 20 to 40% of the folks coming in for produce are from Newcomers Access,
Okay.
which is great. So, it's open.
Because they've got Ukrainians and.
Yeah, we're there. We even have, we are seeing, and that's also down the road. I want to be in, our materials need to be in different languages. They need to be in Farsi. They need to be in Vietnamese. They need to be in just different languages. We even have a Cuban family that's living at the home on CMC property
Oh,
that are refugees
right.
the kids are involved in our program. So it's,
Is that
yeah.
the same family that's been there for some time?
No, they just came, well, they've been there for about a month now.
Oh,
So,
no.
yeah, really, yeah, so, yeah, it's a lot of stuff, isn't it? It's great. No, thank you so much. Think anything else? No, good, thank you.
I wanted to say thank you to Randy, and I wanted to tag on one thing about the gleaning program that he forgot to say. Now, and I don't want this to be taken as being, well, too terribly mercenary, but Johanna that we saw and her crew come over to my house and take my pomegranates. Now, I want to explain how this works real quickly. I don't do anything. I do exactly nothing, okay? Except put water on the ground for the tree.
That's a lot.
Right around Halloween, she comes over and does everything. Picks everything, cleans up everything, takes the fruit away, and still, I've done nothing. And then in January, I get a slip from Uncommon Good that I turn into my tax guy, which is for a value given to a charity for the pomegranates, which then is money I don't give to the government. So the deal is I do nothing and I save money. And if anybody cannot be on board with that, I don't know who it could be. And I just want to encourage folks, if you have a lemon tree, somebody at the party the other day said that they accidentally grew cherry tomatoes that they didn't even know about because they saw like a plant coming over the wall, and until they looked at the other side, there was like 8 bazillion cherry tomatoes, they're like, well, we'll just give them, yeah. And so if, you know, if you have an avocado tree or you have something, don't, and I hope I'm not speaking
No,
out of
that's right.
turn, don't be shy. And if you can not give the government some money in the end, who is against not giving the government money? Next month, we have Randy's replacement,
Oh,
Kathleen
Kathleen.
Kathleen Ferris, who is now the new executive director of the Claremont Chamber of Commerce, coming to speak, and I hope you'll all be here for that. Any finals, or Corey, Ed, anything you'd like to say to final thoughts or cap it off?
Let me just say, it was a long event, but one thing that Randy did a great presentation, but he can't do the same justice as a lot of the speakers at that meeting. They had 3 of their alumni that they recognized. One was a nurse. One is a nurse. One is the press secretary now for our U.S. Senator Padilla. Alex Padilla. He is his press secretary. And then the third is a musician. And that's another thing I want to speak to Nancy. I mean, Nancy is a walking saint. This lady, she's founded 2 organizations because it came out from she had judges serving on her board that she was connected with. And the one mentioned that she started this legal society, this legal aid society, and then when she saw there was another need, she moved on and formed this organization. She's done more as one person than maybe several hundred people do in their lifetime. She's really an amazing lady, and the bigger thing is the humility. They recognized her, for work for 25 years, and she maybe gave a 15-second speech. But when it came to talking about the people she's helped, she gave at least a 5-minute speech or more. That's where it got lengthy, but it was about them, not about her. So a lot of credit goes to Nancy, the kind of person that she is. But the person that had been in the music, his background is music.
Right.
She mentioned that he did something with Disney, and he had to put together a musical score where it was all different Disney movie melodies. Well, basically, he was performing in it, and she and others were very impressed with the composition, and she asked him where that came from, and he mentioned he composed it. So this is what she is accomplishing, taking people that have very little resources, very little background, as far as family support and that, and she's building these folks up, and that's, I think, the point, to respond to Brian maybe more bluntly is they want to settle for a 2-year college. They want them to go right into an Ivy League if at best, because she is trying to emphasize, and this is where, not to bash government has its purpose and it should be doing, but sometimes these types of private organizations do better. They're demonstrating that it's not just a handout, it's literally very much so a hand up, and they're actually lifting these people up. And then in turn, teaching them, when you've been helped. That's why I felt that was so important to make that point, give back, because a lot of them were talking about the fact, even the point of the family, that they bought to their parents a house, they're recognizing their responsibility to give back to society also when they've gotten something from society. So it's amazing what Nancy has put together in 25 years, and how she went from the convent all the way up to building this building. Oh, and by the way, speaking of going after big donors, she got a check right out the door for that for $200,000, I believe the judge said. She didn't even know what to ask. She kind of was tongue-tied, and the judge then was with her and said $250,000, and they gave her $200,000. So these are the kinds of donors that they go after, and that's why, to Randy's point, it's not to disrespect donors of less money, but that's why they've been able to move this organization, because they've gone after those big donations. Really, another thing really quickly too, we had State of the City today. Some of you are tuned into Claremont Connects. It got very negative. Rules changed for many years. The first ever State of the City occurred when I first was appointed mayor back in 2009. And this chamber had run it ever since. And it's just, that's what generally happens. Many cities don't have a State of the City. Those that do, generally, those are done by chambers of commerce through their government affairs committees, and they fundraise as a part of it. Last year we did ours on February 29th, And then on April 18th, there was an Attorney General opinion based upon a question that came from Ventura County, from the city of Ventura, about if there was a Brown Act application to state of the city addresses. And the Attorney General ruled that yes, you have to apply the Brown Act to these situations, especially if you have a majority of the council participating. So we had to notice it as a public meeting. The little, and so it kind of got pushed to the end because that happened after our last State of the City, so it kind of was out of sight, out of mind until we started planning this one. Admittedly, immediately the thought in everybody's heads is this is a public meeting, there needs to be a free option. That message didn't get out there, only the ad with the you have to buy a ticket. So we got a lot of blowback from folks on Claremont Connects, and as social media does, it gets very, very negative. Bottom line, in the end, we did have options. There were a few people. Russ was one that took advantage of the public seating, and some of you know Lud and Robin Prospect, they were there, they took advantage of the public seating. But we also taped the whole presentation, so it will be on video, so people will have the opportunity to listen in the comfort of their own homes. And I made sure that I stated in the video ways that you can directly contact council or our generic email address for the city if after watching the video you have questions, so you still have the opportunity to ask questions relative to the presentation and receive answers. So in the spirit of things, we rectified it. It wasn't perfect. I know Elaine's gonna look at me with a scolding look because she called me, and she was one of the ones who called me personally and scolded me, this shouldn't be, where's the free option? And you need to videotape this, but we got it done, and most importantly, the responsibility on us is learn a lesson now, next year needs to be better, and I believe we're gonna do that. Hopefully, assuming Jennifer's our next mayor, for her sake, I hope that we get it right, because I don't want her to go through what I had to go through this year. So with that, thank you very much, I appreciate it, Russ.
Ed, yes, you're always welcome. We don't have the Rocky theme ready for you just yet, but next time.
Well, thanks, Russ. And I just wanted to share, as we are rolling closer to April, our current chief of police, Aaron Fate, will be retiring April 1st. He has done a fantastic job for our community, a person that really cares and about this community, and has been a real example of a giving civil servant. So here's to Aaron. I'd also like to share that come April 2nd, you'll have a new chief, and that will be the promotion of Captain Mike Cizik. And Mike will take the helm on this April 2nd. Mike has been with us almost 30 years and has worked in almost every bureau within the department: traffic, detective, support services, etc. So it's going to be exciting.
And then Buzz.
Oh yes, and then the what?
He was swearing in.
Yes, I'm coming to that. And then Buzz Ewing, that I know a number of people know, is also currently acting captain, and I would presume that once that shift happens, Buzz will be a permanent captain. We will have a swearing in April, and we'll post all of that on the website, but we'll have a swearing in April, kind of towards the end of April. Actually, I think it's the 17th, 19th?
17.
Yeah, I have it, yes, 17th. It will be on the 17th at 5 p.m. at the Doubletree, and the entire community is welcome. So please feel free to come, enjoy the festivities and the badge pinning of the new chief, and hopefully we'll have some cookies.
Oh, and it's free, right?
And it's free.
Okay, there we go.
What time on the
Cookies.
17th?
5 p.m. 5 p.m. All right, thanks, Russ.
Hey, any time for you? No, never a question. Anybody else? If not, I thank you for coming. This has been an extreme pleasure. Thank you once again to Randy, and I hope you'll all shop down at Uncommon Good at your very first opportunity, and then go again often. All right? I thank you all, and good night.
Thanks.